Hi, everybody. My name is Brendan Gibbs. I'm the Vice President of Product Management in our SP team. I'm very happy to be talking to you today about enabling service provider business transformation enabled by cloud, 5G, and AI solutions. What we're really focused on is recognizing some key trends in the marketplace. And what we're really seeing is that we've seen a massive demand for bandwidth, and it has been driven by consumers for the last decade or so. We've seen massive bandwidth growth to the home, where now in certain geographies, we're seeing up to 2 gigabits to the home on a residential basis with wired connections. We're also seeing wireless connectivity growing with massive capacity. And with the new stay-at-home lockdowns from the global pandemic, we're seeing even further bandwidth growth on top of an already large base. A lot of this is really driven by video, and content really is king here. And so consumers have really been driving a significant amount of bandwidth growth on the network. But we believe that the next decade is going to be anchored by enterprises. We think there's a massive opportunity for enterprises to digitize what were previously offline technologies and offline business operations. And we think this is going to be a big opportunity for service providers going forward. We think that enterprises are going to take their workloads and shift into the cloud, and it's going to be fundamentally a multi-cloud type of architecture that really is a replacement for a prior model of intranet connectivity. We're also seeing a significant focus on artificial intelligence, or AI, really helping to enable a new experience for rapid remediation of problems, rapid automation of delivery of services, et cetera. But the prime focus there is on quality of experience. Security is also paramount for a lot of enterprise customers these days. And when you take all these together, a significant consumer demand, as well as a significant enterprise demand for the next decade, pairing that with new services with 5G, where we don't even know what we don't know, with new applications that are on the horizon to take advantages of 5G, we see a massive opportunity really driven by new services and new bandwidth demands. Given all these opportunities, though, we have to realize that service providers still have significant business challenges. The reality is that revenues are flat in most providers these days, but the bandwidth continues to grow, as I've been saying. Bandwidth growth means need for continuous investment. And that continuous investment cycle puts pressure on free cash flow and a commensurate need to reduce costs. But when we look at the source of costs, we realize that almost 80% of service provider costs are in operational paradigms. So it really becomes a need to reduce operational costs, or OpEx. Furthermore, we think that providers need to deliver a better experience. So they move beyond the premise of being a provider of connectivity to more of a true end-to-end service provider. The reality is the status quo is just not an option. In order to unlock efficiencies, to continually invest in network upgrades that is required to remain competitive, but also deal with continually flat, possibly even declining revenues, these service providers need fundamental business transformation. And there's a whole bunch of areas in which they need this transformation. They need it across the service domain and infrastructure. How do you launch new services? How do you deliver these upgraded infrastructure foundations in a more smart fashion, so you're not doing the same old thing you've always done, because you don't want the same outcome? How do you be smarter around delivering upgrades to infrastructure for services? How do you be smarter about transforming your business with new economic models, so that there's sharing with the vendor offerings with pay as you grow, so that you can offer and unlock new sources of revenue with managed services? And how do you modernize and shift to more of a focus on automated operations, away from kind of a manual provisioning, so that the valuable workers in the provider space can essentially become more productive by focusing on new service delivery instead of doing rote type of manual processes. And when we dig into the details of the anchor points of how do you transform a business to unlock these efficiencies, it really goes across these three angles: across the architecture, the economics, and service experience. And really, from an architecture perspective, we're seeing a total change in architecture. What was a focus on a box in the past becomes a focus on cloud delivered services. Centralized architectures move to distributed, enabling even things like edge compute type of service delivery. We see a static capacity provision move to on-demand service offerings. We see manual provisioning moving to automation, closed approaches moving to an ever larger need and interest in open source, open technologies, open RAN, open everything, frankly, and security becoming integrated everywhere, fully connected with the network instead of being an afterthought bolted on. But you can't make a total architectural shift unless you also are making a significant shift in your economic approach. You can't have continued every year growth in bandwidth, reinvention, and deployment of new platforms unless you're rethinking the fundamental economics of that transaction, unless you're thinking about pricing per service, moving away from price per gig and price per port, whether you move away from predefined capacity to more of an on-demand service matched to the underlying infrastructure. And really a focus on right tool for the job. There's no longer a one-size-fits-all style approach where one box becomes a panacea for everything. That's not the reality today. We see demand for custom silicon, merchant silicon, vendor-offered software, open source software as a complement to that. So all of these tenets are important. And the final piece that's arguably the most important is a focus on service experience, moving from being kind of a one-size-fits-all purveyor of generic connectivity to more of a tailored service offering at high scale, of course, that make the experience for each individual consumer feel personalized. And by consumer, I mean end customer. It could be residential or enterprise businesses. But it's fundamentally a personalized service delivery at high scale versus kind of that generic offering. It's moving from a traffic design approach based around moving bits to more of an approach on building a network that's architected for service delivery. Automation and manageability based upon being proactive instead of reactive. Transparent architectures instead of opaque. And the net goal for operations is essentially closed loop quality of experience and assuring an end-to-end high quality service delivery instead of just having high uptime on physical boxes moving bits. The end result may be the same, you want high uptime, but there's a very large distinction between that assured customer experience that's personalized at scale and moving bits at scale. And what we think are real enablers from a technology perspective of this business transformation is essentially three things. Cloud, the shift to cloud with cloud principles and cloud design tenets, as well as cloud first and cloud native type of technologies, as well as 5G, as well as AI. And when we talk about 5G, we think that's really one of many, but also probably a leading contender for things in the access network. And when I spoke before about the video and other sort of high bandwidth services driving continued reinvention of the traffic foundation, really becoming a traffic tsunami. There's so many innovations in the access layer that just creates this need for more bandwidth and the need for more reinvention of the infrastructure, but also enables new services. 5G is one. We think there's going to be a sea change in applications and services delivered because of ubiquity and high bandwidth of 5G. But also Wi-Fi 6 in the home as a complement to 5G is just a phenomenal prospect. And also then very high speed wireline connectivity with shift with RFi from cable operators. DOCSIS 3.1 is here. DOCSIS 4.0 is on the horizon. G.fast, high speed, to the home with PON. So there's so much happening in the access layer that's just driving all of this. But artificial intelligence is also here. It's not just a buzzword, it's also a reality where we can take advantage of artificial intelligence and machine learning to pair on top of the new shifts to help enable a smarter, better, faster, experience-driven approach to customer support and service delivery. So taking all these together, moving from a bit pipe model to an enterprise service delivery model, and leveraging cloud and AI with 5G and other access inventions can help bring web scale to service provider architectures. Taken all together, we think they're the key fundamental building blocks enabling this business transformation. And we believe that Juniper is your best partner for helping to enable and deliver this transformation led by cloud and 5G and AI. And what we're doing is a few things. First of all, we're driving to a model where we have cloud-first platform delivery. All of our software is going to be cloud-enabled, cloud-delivered, and cloud-centric. Second thing is that we're driving a leadership posture with a private cloud architecture with distributed cloud or edge compute type of architectures. We've got a lot of very marquee customers who have taken this plunge with us to deliver their own private clouds in transforming their businesses in partnership with us. Both of these are then built upon a very scalable IP fabric with network slicing, where here the tenet is about building massive bandwidth, as I said, building upon that tsunami from the access layer all the way to the core, but doing so with a level of intelligence and precision that allows you to slice it on a micro basis or as needed per service end to end throughout the network infrastructure. We're pairing that with automation. That's a key element of strategy, and we have a industry-leading architecture and offering for automation, where we're focused not on boxes, we're focused on operations. And we can offer this automation toolkit to help automate operations, to help save customers money, and help speed service time to delivery. And all of this is wrapped together with connected security. As I said, it's not an afterthought with bolted on security. It's where security is part of every element of what we're doing. And it's something we're putting really at the forefront of our service offering. And you pair these 5 tenets where Juniper has technology and business leadership across all of these 5 domains, we can help drive that needed architectural shift. We can help drive the needed operational shift and the economic shift with a focus on service experience. And all these together, as I've said, can help enable SP business transformation. Now, why Juniper? In addition to those 5 high-level tenets, there's a number of key areas where we think we've got significant differentiation, really focused on helping providers themselves differentiate and focus on that service experience. So first of all, shift towards agile and open architectures. Some alternate providers in the market and alternate vendors would have you believe the only way to deliver a cloud-first, virtualized or containerized software architecture is to take a full stack from them. In effect, saying, "Trust us, give us everything, give us the keys to the kingdom, and we'll get your back." That's not really partnership. That's not really what's required in this new world. What Juniper helps provide is a fully open and open source approach to automated cloud-first service delivery, where we have we've broken across, open the stacks between NFVI and the VNFs that run on top of that, and the management orchestration on top of that. So we've got open source tools for NFVI delivery. We've got open source tools to help automate VNF onboarding. And the whole architecture is open, where you can substitute any component as you like, but it's prepackaged for speed. So you no longer have to spend years and tons of money worrying about do it yourself. In partnership with Juniper, as a number of our large customers have already seen, you can get the advantage of open with the speed that's required and really get to market very rapidly. You pair that with a very highly elastic IP fabric architecture, where you can deploy a significant amount of capacity and then forget about it in a positive fashion, because you've deployed it once, it's got sufficient room to grow, and you no longer need to worry about innovating and replacing it every year as you do with alternate providers. And we're aligned with a lot of the key tenets in the industry, where we're delivering the right tool for the job across access and aggregation, edge and core, across data center, and having best-in-class platforms from all of those roles, with the software and automation tools on top of that, to partner with providers in unlocking some of the further openness that they're seeking, such as with Open RAN and other new models that seeks to essentially break apart prior vendor lock-in and move to more of a disaggregated software model and a disaggregated architectural model. We are absolutely at the forefront of that. So not only do we have this architectural shift with full extensible APIs and interfaces and programmability with automation for an easy button, not manual shift of network operators into software developers, but more of a easy button of automation for operations. But we've also helped lead the charge to an operational economical shift as well, really an on-demand model where once you deploy this infrastructure for physical high bandwidth transport and containerized, virtualized service delivery from the cloud, it really becomes how quickly can you deploy services? And so we've got a model with automation as well as with the economic tools for pay-as-you-grow, enterprise license agreements, the ability to have centralized bandwidth metering to pair just-in-time service delivery with just-in-time infrastructure capacity adds. So it becomes, deploy once, just in time, and just in the nick of time for the economical needs of it. And what we're pairing all of this with is a focus on a service experience shift. Where, as I've said before, we not only have the massive capacity, we've got the intelligence and precision to help take all these technologies in this network and build an end-to-end sliced architecture using segment routing with differentiated quality of experience on a personalized basis, as well as automation tools to help provide and instantiate the slices end-to-end throughout an infrastructure. And we're pairing that with closed loop automation portfolios with AI and machine learning. The idea being that you don't want a fire and forget model. That's not a focus on service experience. With Juniper, what you get is a closed loop feedback model where you can have model driven automated service provisioning. You can then pair that with closed loop service monitoring, service health checks, and a 360-degree continuous validation and assurance model, all automated, such that you can focus on service quality of experience and not always wondering, is my service up or down, or why am I having a problem? The reality is that what we can do is pair all of this for automation plus infrastructure for that quality of experience. So the upshot of all of this is, in partnership with Juniper, we are the best partner for helping drive and enable business transformations for service providers with ready to monetize services for edge cloud with a partner with StackPath. We can offer wireless convergence with wireline for 5G as well as fixed mobile offload that can help reduce the cost of 5G services. And we can also help monetize enterprise services with a cloud delivered AI enabled enterprise and enable 5G services on top of that. So we're very focused on enabling these services. And the reality is, as much as I've been talking about the need for transformation for service providers, a number of SPs have already made this journey. They're already well into the way. And the reality is that first movers have already moved. AT&T and Deutsche Telekom, Telefonica, and Orange, among many others, have already gone public with efforts towards digitizing their environment, virtualizing their software models, automating their operational environment. And there's a very large number of providers that have really taken a first step into being the first to unlock a cloud-first, automation-led type of approach towards service delivery and service experience. We also see hundreds more accelerating. The reality is, especially with the global pandemic underway, that, as has been said, the only constant is change. And with this pandemic underway, the reality is additionally that change could not be more important, as in the ability to adapt to change, to have a network that itself is elastic and agile and open, so you can add capacity easily. You can automatically add new services and onboard new users. You can shift from a work in the office to a work at home type of environment. A few of our customers and a few of our partners have gone public to provide some quotes. For example, Vodafone Idea in India, a year's worth of traffic growth in just 1 week. And then from Microsoft, the CEO Satya Nadella said that Microsoft saw 2 years of digital transformation in just 2 months. And that is just a massive pace of change. So the reality is we're seeing a significant focus, and what's required is a network and an infrastructure and an operational approach that is facile and agile and elastic. You need cloud first and cloud centric architectures. You need automation, you need security, and you need an agile open IP fabric foundation. That's what Juniper helps provide. And the journey is not going to be the same for everybody. Even as we're exhorting SPs to make this shift for business transformation, and we recognize a number have already made the journey, no journey is going to be the same. So you can have a choose your own adventure model by leveraging some tried and true tenets, as that we've been saying, a cloud, 5G, and AI style approach to business transformation. And what we can offer as a company, both by ourselves and with our partners, is to take the relevant building blocks that would fit for any one of our service provider customers and help build a customized transformation journey and experience on very well proven foundational blocks. So it's a choose your own adventure approach, but with a highly assured type of experience along that journey. And we're here to help. We fundamentally think, as I've said, that the SPs need to drive a business transformation for the range of their network architectures and economics, as well as their operations. We have the experience to help with that journey. We've been working with the top cloud providers, enterprise customers, and service providers for years and years. We have the experience, we've got the technology, and we've got the business models to help transform and to help deliver and unlock the efficiencies of the network and help provide a truly agile, open, on-demand, secure, and assured network and business for the next 10 years. So having said that, I want to thank you for your time. I hope you will sit through the rest of the virtual summit, and thank you for listening to my presentation.